Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today I am continuing my Build New Crest Community Lots Edition challenge, and this time we are building the spa. So last week I took a week off from doing this because I had been trying to build the spa and it just wasn't working. So gave myself a week off, came back refreshed with lots of good ideas. So this is our spa. It's on the 40 by 20 lot in New Crest, which I think there's only the one. I don't know, there might be another one, but in any case, there's not very many 40 by 20 lots in the game, and probably with good reason. I think a lot of the issues that I was having with this build in the first place was that, I don't know, it's difficult to build on such a long, skinny lot like this. Like typically in real life, buildings aren't quite so narrow and deep all at once. Like usually if they have like a more narrow front, then they're not particularly deep. So I did sort of struggle with like what to do here. So I came up with the idea of doing like a side-by-side, I don't know what style of architecture this is, like kind of like Victorian almost. But yeah, so basically this is like two storefronts that are side by side. So on the right, as you're looking at the front, is the spa, and then on the left is like the yoga studio slash meditation center. So that actually turned out to be a lot of fun when I was building this, because then I got to do like two different styles, because I wanted them to look like they weren't owned by like the same person, but maybe they had some sort of a business partnership with one another. So like you could use services at both and like kind of go back and forth, because let's be real, that's exactly what the Sims are going to do. They're not going to recognize that these are actually two different businesses side by side. Like even just when I was taking screenshots, I saw people like walking back and forth between the two, just sort of like randomly while wearing their spa robes, which, you know, whatever, that's fine. You do you. It's not a far walk. So yeah, so I wanted them to be different, but also like a little similar, especially at least on the outside. Because obviously these were two buildings that at one point maybe had been, I don't know, maybe they had been a house or two other types of businesses, you know. The spa side is a little bit more of like the traditional spa day type of look. It's very modern on the inside, even though the outside of the building isn't particularly modern. The inside is like very sleek, very, you know, like I wanted to do a spa that didn't look modern, so I wound up doing a spa that looks modern on the inside, but at least on the outside it looks a little bit different. Because since Spa Day came out with so many like modern wallpapers and floor tiles, like the kind of default setting is to make a very modern looking spa, which is fine. I mean, like you might as well use the stuff that's in the pack, but it doesn't always work for all situations. So this is like, I don't know, like what you would see in like a typical like Midwestern town of something that had been built like maybe in the 1870s, 1880s, something like that. And then over time, the inside had been remodeled. So yeah, so the inside does look fairly modern and sleek, at least on the spa side. On the yoga studio side, it's not quite the same vibe. You know, kind of by default, it's going to look a little bit modern because all of the like build elements, or like not even the build elements, but like the spa elements look more modern. You know, like the meditation stools, the yoga mats, that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, it is going to look a little bit modern on the inside on the yoga studio side, but it's also going to look a little bit more, how do I explain? It's like it had been renovated at some point, and then maybe it had transitioned owners, and that owner doesn't maybe have the unlimited budget that the owner of the spa next door does to be able to like make it look super contemporary. So like they try to make it look good, and it does look good, but it also looks a little mismatch, a little bit like we're renovating it in different stages kind of, which, you know, I mean, that's that's reality. Like, most people when they're renovating can't do everything all at once. Like, it's just not financially possible for most people to be able to do that. And especially if you're like a new business owner, like, you have to be able to pay your landlord and make rent and turn a profit to be able to do that. So, you know, the money to do tons of renovations isn't necessarily going to be there. So, but however, the spa side, whoever's owning the spa side, they come from deep pockets, because as you can tell right now, the spa side is very contemporary, very clean. Well, clean as in design, not necessarily, I mean, like, it is clean, but not to say that the yoga studio side is like gross or anything, because it's not. But like very clean lines, very, I don't know, very spa day-esque. So yeah, so the yoga studio, not so modern. Spa, yeah, it's a little bit more modern. Obviously, because the outside of the building is not very modern, our front door here is very not modern as well on the inside. But, you know, again, you're dealing with something that has been around for a very long time and has been remodeled a bunch of times, and that's sort of what you get. So, you know, not everything can be a brand new building right off the bat. So yeah, so I sort of split up the services between the two. So on the spa side, there's obviously massage chairs for like hand and foot massages, and then the first floor also has saunas or steam rooms or whatever. There's also like a little kitchenette area where you can like get a refreshing beverage. I put in both the drink tray from Spa Day, which is like, I actually don't know what types of drinks there are. I almost never use that one, to be perfectly honest. I also put in the drink tray that came out with the backyard stuff pack that has like lemonade and iced tea, because, you know, iced tea, it's pretty good. And then obviously here at the front desk, there's like, you know, you can buy like supplements and different lotions and fancy soaps and things like that. So yeah, so then upstairs, there's massage rooms with like the actual massage tables. And then there's men's and women's locker rooms, which I think I cut out most of the footage of. This build, despite the fact that I had a better idea of what I was doing, still took me a very long time to do. Especially, like, this weekend. So I'm recording this at, like, 8 o'clock at night on Sunday. This weekend has been kind of crazy. We wound up having to take our dog to the emergency vet yesterday. Well, I mean me, because my husband was helping his in-laws move out of their house, and my father-in-law had to have like knee surgery for the second time since January, so like he can't do anything because he has his leg in this thing and he can't move it, and it's this whole big thing. So my poor mother-in-law was like stuck moving everything by herself, so my husband went and he helped his parents, but then right before they were moving, or he went down there to go help them move, we discovered like my dog had this like red thing on her eye, and like her eye was all like red and swollen, and we were like, oh crap, like, is this pink eye or conjunctivitis? Like, oh no. So, and the big issue was that we were actually about to start dog sitting for my in-laws, because so they're moving out of their old house, but they can't get into their new house just yet. So in the interim, we are watching their boxer, who is so sweet, so lovable, but kind of a handful sometimes. But in any case, didn't want to have the boxer come if our dog was contagious. So yesterday, I tried calling our regular vet to see if we could get an appointment for our dog, and they were closing in 30 minutes. And we live like literally less than 10 minutes from the vet's office, and the lady on the phone was like super rude to me and was like, well, we are closing soon. And I was like, you don't understand, my dog might have a contagious disease. Can you see her? Like, we're about to start dog sitting, please. And they were like, you could try the emergency vet. And I was like, oh, fine. So of course, I mean, like, we've had to take our dog to the emergency vet one other time before, and the people there are wonderful. They're so nice. You know, like, I get it. It's basically, it's like, if you've ever been to like an urgent care or an emergency room, for people, it's very similar to that, but it's for pets. And we're actually pretty lucky because there's not very many of them around, but we actually have one like super close to our house. So I got to take my dog to the emergency room yesterday, which thankfully I had stopped and asked, well, I had called my mom beforehand to see if she could come and help and just, you know, because otherwise it does take a really long time there because, you know, I mean, if you've ever been to an emergency room, at least in the United States, it's not a quick process. Like, you wait for a very long time. So thankfully my lovely mom had agreed to come with me and sit with me, because otherwise I was just going to be in this waiting room at the emergency vet by myself, which I really did not want to do, especially because the last time we had to take our dog there, we kept seeing other dogs come in because we were at that point, the last time we had to take her in, it was like late at night. And we kept seeing other dogs whose humans had made the very sad final decision, and they had to be put to sleep, and it was very upsetting, and I really did not want to be there by myself. And so, yeah. So anyways, long story short, my dog is fine. They did think at one point that her eye thing, because it's not pink eye, whatever it is, they did think that it could be potentially caused by a tumor, because it's basically like, if you ever have heard of cherry eye, it's a thing that apparently young dogs get quite often because their eyelids haven't quite formed properly, and then if they're like roughhousing, like one of them just sort of like flops out and it's gross. But for older dogs, when that happens, it typically can mean that either they've had some sort of like a trauma to the eye, or it could mean that there is actually a tumor inside of their skull that's pushing the eyelid outwards. And oh my god, the vet yesterday, he was very, very kind, but he said that T word and I about lost it. Like, oh man. I mean, like, our dog isn't exactly a young dog. She's 11. Well, she just turned 11. So, like, you know, I know, like, I'm not dumb. Like, I know the reality of our situation is that, you know, she's not in the early stages of her life anymore, but she still has a lot of time left, or so I had thought. And then for him to say that yesterday, I was like, oh my god. So then thankfully, so they gave her some antibiotic eye drops, because they were like, well, it's either an infection or it's a tumor. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks. That's like a mild heart attack that I don't need right now, thank you. But then they actually called back afterwards, and like after we had already left, they called my husband because his number was the one on file. And so they called him and they were like, oh, we looked at the chart for your dog again, and we've decided that you don't need to do 4 eye drops a day, which was the original plan, which I don't know how we were going to fit that in. You only have to do 2 because it's less severe. So anyways, so thankfully it's probably not a tumor, and because today then she woke up and her eye was fine. I was like, seriously, like, it's not red at all, it's not inflamed at all. We gave her like 1 dose of the eye drops last night before she went to bed, and that was it. That's it. I was like, okay, well, I mean, like, definitely worth it, but that was also like a $300 vet bill to go to the emergency room yesterday. And it was also like, okay, so I left my house around like 2:30, and by the time we were done, and then my parents gave me dinner. I mean, like, I was gone yesterday for like 6 hours, and I really was not planning on it, so, yeah. So it took me a very long time to finish this build. Like, I did not finish this build until last night, and I really would have liked to have finished it earlier in the day, and I just didn't. It was very frustrating. But I mean, like, obviously the most important thing is that my dog got the treatment that she needs and that she's gonna be okay. But, you know, it's just best laid plans, right? So anyways, so back to the build. So now we are over on the yoga studio side of things. So as you can tell just from like the decorations and stuff, it's definitely a little bit more like slapdash in the way that things have been put together. Like not everything matches really well. Like there's different chairs in the lobby and, you know, like in the actual like yoga studio room, there's like metal chairs that are different. So the first floor has bathrooms. It doesn't have like showers or anything on this side because I figured there's, you know, there are showers next door, so you can just use those. But the most exciting thing, and I don't even know how I thought of this idea. So like my job is, it's not terrible, it's not great, but it could be worse. But one of the things that it is very mundane. So I have like a lot of time to just sort of think sometimes. Like my mind sort of wanders because it's not super interesting what I'm doing. So I come up with all these fun ideas. And one of the ideas that I had come up with was to do themed, get this, themed tub rooms. So like it's a room with a bathtub in it and it's decorated and themed in a specific style. So like there are speakers that will play like a specific type of music, and then the decorations in the room match the music that's playing, and like everything is very like, I don't know, you'll see it in a minute. I'm honestly like, I'm way too proud of this idea that I had. Like it's actually a little embarrassing because I don't know. It's a fun idea. I was just really excited for it. So yeah, so I wanted the yoga studio room to kind of have like a feel of like a dance studio. So I used the basketball style floors from City Living. And then like the big floor to ceiling I can't talk. I'm sorry. The mirrors from Vintage Glamour stuff that go like all the way floor to ceiling. Because really, we don't actually have that many mirrors that go all the way up and down. And I kind of liked that they looked a little older because the building itself is a little bit older. And then there's like lockers and like I said before, there's like metal folding chairs. So like, you know, people come in. I also thought it would be really cute to have like a shoe rack right by the entrance because, you know, like a lot of times dance rooms, like for practices and stuff, are very particular about like no street shoes on the dance floor. So I was kind of going through the same sort of thing here, like, oh yeah, no street shoes on the yoga studio floor because it'll damage it. And then I put up the inspirational mouse poster just because I thought that was kind of cute. I don't know. We don't really have a ton of like spa type things that aren't very modern looking. So like, I don't know. I was kind of struggling a little bit to come up with some decorations. And then there's like a little stereo, and I actually used the little CD decoration things, which okay, so in The Sims 3, whenever I placed a stereo, there was like that tower of CDs that I think came with high-end loft stuff. Why I still remember that, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, it's just sitting in my brain taking up space. But there was like a decoration object that was a tower of CDs, and I always placed it next to stereos. And I literally, this was the first time in The Sims 4 that I've done that. I think I've used that CD object before on like a desk as clutter item, because it could also be like, you know, CD-ROMs for a computer or DVD-ROMs for a computer. I don't know. It was just a thought. But yeah, so I actually put it next to what it probably was meant to go along with all along. So yeah, so upstairs here we have the 3 themed tub rooms. So this first one is themed after the Jungle Adventure game pack. So obviously I used pretty much exclusively items from Jungle Adventure. I originally, so you see me struggling here, like coming up with objects. I originally wanted to create like a little bit of a screen because the doors that I use are clear. Oh no, I'm yawning. Oh no. Why? It's too early. Oh my god. I'm so tired already. This is not good. But anyways, so I wanted to create like a screen because the doors that I use for each of the rooms are like the clear glass, because that's what kind of goes with the rest of the building. But then obviously, like, if it's a bathtub, like, you don't want anyone to walk past and just be able to see straight in. Like, you know, oh yeah, there's, you know, Jeffrey Landgrab taking a bath in the jungle room. Like, I don't want to see that. You know, just my personal opinion, but no thanks. So I do eventually come up with another solution out in the hallway to kind of shield the door from, you know, the casual passerby's wandering eye. So yeah, I also have the, ooh, which one was it? I think I decided on using the Latin stereo. Oh no, once I start yawning, I can't stop. This is a problem. And of course, like, now it's too late in the day for me to actually have, like, a cup of coffee or something to, like, perk me back up. It's just, oh man. Like I said before, this weekend has been, like, super chaotic. It's been, overall, it hasn't been a bad weekend, but, like, there's just been a lot of changed plans, like, both from things that I've had to change and, like, things that have been out of my control. And honestly, either one of those things, I'm not really a huge fan of. Like, I don't like having to change my own plans, and I also don't like it when other people that I'm relying on change their plans, like, for me. So, all around, not great. And then, like, you know, I always start off each weekend, and I'm like, I'm going to, well, as of lately, I'm going to pre-record my videos for the entire next week, and then during the week I won't have to worry about it, and I can actually play, like, my game that's off camera, and it hasn't happened in several weeks. It's just, things happen and things come up, and it's just never gonna be a thing. But in any case, so this is now the second themed bathroom. So this is like very like classical, very fancy, hoity-toity. The music that's playing in here is, I believe, Baroque. I'm like pretty sure I picked the Baroque station to play here. So it has like what I would call like the very traditional, like, rich styled bathroom from like base game. And then there's also obviously several of like the floral decorations and the wall fountains that came out with romantic garden stuff, I believe is what it was. Ooh, hold on, time for water. I'm sure you guys realize this already, but this is a long build, which I actually cut out probably a good 10 minutes of like sped up footage from this. But I mean, like, there's only so much I could take out because there is a lot to it. Like, as it is, other than these bathrooms here, because I put a lot of work into like creating different themes and stuff, you don't see any of the other bathrooms in the build. Like, I didn't, some of them I filmed and then decided to get rid of the footage. Others I just didn't film at all. I didn't film like landscaping or like anything really outdoorsy for the most part besides building. Oh my goodness, I need to wake up. So anyways, so this last room though is probably, yeah, it's probably my favorite because it's Christmas themed. So yeah, I built a Christmas themed bathroom because, you know, why not? I don't know why. I thought that that would be kind of a fun theme to go with. For one thing, I knew we had quite a few like Christmas decorations now in the game from the free holiday pack that came out, you know, like several years ago, and then they just keep adding to it each year. And I don't know, I feel like there's something really nice and cozy about like a warm bath and like listening to Christmas music, or like maybe eating a Christmas cookie in the tub or something. So there's a Christmas tree, there's garland all across, you know, going across the top of the room. I actually even found space. Oh my god, it's like, but yeah, I found space to put in the fireplace that came with that pack, which I hardly ever use, but because, you know, like outside of Christmas, when are you gonna use a super decorated fireplace like that? But anyways, so back when I was in college, I just thought of this randomly. My friends and I had a phrase that we would use to say like, I'm tired and I want to go to bed, or like, we had been out at a party and we were tired and we wanted to go home. And the phrase was, "It's pumpkin time." Because, you know, in Cinderella, at midnight, the clock strikes 12 and her carriage turns back into a pumpkin. So we had this phrase, and we would go, "It's pumpkin time," and that would mean like, "Okay, girls, let's go home." Like, I am tired. I have ceased to be magical. I am no longer a princess. I want to go home. But yeah, that just came to me all of a sudden when I was yawning, because I was like, it is in fact pumpkin time. Because yeah, I'm very tired. But so now we are on to the yoga practice room. So I wanted to create a separate room that wasn't like, you know, like your Sims, they go to the spa or the yoga studio or whatever, and maybe they don't need to take a class, but they do need to practice a little bit. So that's what this room is. Again, because of the shape of the building, I don't know if it was because these 2 rooms were the last 2 rooms that I did, but I was like, whew, man. I was like tapped out at this point, like trying to come up with ideas, and I really wanted to try to get like a fountain in. So also I don't technically have like outdoor fountains necessarily, but I do have a lot of indoor fountains throughout the build. So, you know, the fountain lives on. It's still here. So yeah, I was trying to get like a yoga mat originally in like the alcove area where the tower part of the build is. But it just didn't work, and I really liked the idea of having all the yoga mats kind of close together. So I turned this into like a fountainy garden indoors type of thing, because, you know, like typically you would think like, ooh, let's meditate in like this beautiful peaceful area, and you know, but again, that doesn't really fit the style of the build, nor does it fit like my, you know, little backstory of like, well, they're trying to like remodel, and you know, they can't do everything all at once, so they're just sort of making do, which sort of explains the horrendous wall color that I went with in here. I rarely have used this wallpaper because I really just hate it. But, oh my god, it's like seriously, once I start yawning, I just can't stop. I actually, so, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I have like one of those lamps that people use for seasonal depression, because I also have seasonal depression. And I have it on my desk, and it basically, it mimics the like sun's rays without any of the like potentially harmful effects of like, you know, melanoma. So I have it on my desk, and it's, you know, it's very helpful in like winter time when it's cloudy and gray and there's just not a lot of sun. Or honestly, I've even used it in the summer. If we've had like several days in a row where it's just been stormy and gray and cloudy, I'll turn it on for like an hour and just sit here and, you know, like do whatever on my computer and just have the little light on. But one of the things that they recommend with it is that you don't use it late at night, because it can affect your like circadian rhythms. But I turned it on because I am like so tired right now. Oh no! There I go again. More yawning. If I was smart, I would be like quick about it and quickly like pause recording so I could stop to yawn, but honestly, I just need to get through this. I really do. I just need to get through this. So then, I don't know. I might not go to bed, but I definitely need to like recharge before the week begins tomorrow, because oh my god. So anyway, so now we are up to the meditation room, which is a little bit more modern. So I used a bunch of the tree like wall stencil-y things from, ooh, which pack did that come out in? We've had several tree like wall decoration things. I don't remember which one they were from. Maybe Parenthood? So in any case, I used that to kind of like create like a forest indoors type of thing. You know, like it's obviously not going to be like a real forest, but you know, if it helps, it helps. And so I also went with like more of a like an upscale, like soft purpley gray color scheme here. So maybe this is a room that they have been able to put a little bit more effort into remodeling, as opposed to like the yoga practice room, like next door, where it's, you know, not great. So then I was like, okay, I'm still really bugged by the fact that I can see straight in. And while I was scrolling around looking for other plants, I came across the hedge things from the Perfect Patio or Backyards. I think it's Perfect Patio. And so I sort of created like almost like little cabanas inside in front of each of the doors. So like you can't really see in. If you're looking, like if you're straining to see in, you'll probably still see something. If that's your thing, go right ahead. But it will help like shield the casual passerby from getting a glimpse of something that they don't want to see. It also helped because this hallway space up here was really quite large. So it also helped kind of take up some of the space in the hallway, because I was like, I need something else to put up here besides just benches, because that's kind of my go-to hallway thing. And I really like how that in particular turned out. But overall, I mean, like, I'm very pleased with this build. It took a lot of effort and a lot of time. But, you know, I think taking that week off really did me a lot of good. At least from doing community lots. You know, I still uploaded last week. But, so anyways, oh, and I can't believe I forgot to mention this. The most amazing part about this is that this is called the Treat Yourself Spa. So if you're a fan of Parks and Rec like I am, you know that Donna and Tom have a thing where they're like, it's treat yourself, and every year they have one day where they go out and they splurge on the things that they normally wouldn't splurge on and treat themselves. So I thought that was a good name for a spa. So anyways, the Treat Yourself Spa is available for download on the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it in the link in the description box below, or you can find it using my username MrsTomato1018 or the hashtag MrsTomato1018. So yeah, or you can also look for any of the other Build New Crest builds that I've done so far. I'm now in my second neighborhood of New Crest, so I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do for next week, but we'll see. It'll be a fun surprise. It'll be something else in this same neighborhood, so if you go back to that map at the very beginning of the video, you'll see, you know, what the possibilities are. I think it's like retail and vet clinic, and I don't know, it's all there. So anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to my videos, you can do so down below. I put out a new video every single day, Monday through Friday. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!